Welcome to the Red Dirt Road Podcast. Red Dirt Road Podcast. Coming live at you from my living room. First ever live show that we got. We got me and we got Alex Breitenbach back from his unpaid leave. He's back in Ohio. And like I said, we've got 4 people in the audience. Woo, let's give it a round of applause. Yeah. People in the audience. All right. Nice. They were not paid to get here. They absolutely are not waiting on pizza afterwards.
Okay. Exactly.
We've got 2 people that have been on the show, my girlfriend Emma, our Uncle Craig, and then we've got Charlie, who is our neighbor. He is a listener of the podcast, has not been on yet. And then we've got Nick, Alex's friend from Connecticut, a potentially new fan.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Maybe he has not been. We'll have to see how this episode goes.
To
see if he'll do that.
Exactly. It's good to be back.
Yes.
It's good to be here, man. You know how far we have come.
Far we've come. The only other time that we reviewed in person was actually it was 1 year ago this month, July of last year. We were in Lakewood, did the top 10 country songs of 2019. I was thinking maybe we could do another top 10 one, but instead we got even something better. This Dan and Shay sort of roasting of Dan and Shay episode.
We've been dying to do this for a while. I know this has been on the bucket list for a while. You've been talking about this.
We promised this to people once we were done reviewing the Brand New Man album.
Yep.
And we just finished that. Very good. So make sure you guys listen to that. But basically, I don't think that Dan and Shay is country music at all. Okay. Most people consider them country pop, which if they were only called country pop, I would not have much of a problem with them because whatever. But they're not. They're called a lot of times country. They're at the Academy of Country Music Awards. They're on country playlists. They're at country concerts. They get country awards. Too much. You go on Wikipedia, some of it says pop, some of it says country pop, some of it says country. I don't think that my theory was that they were not country at all. And so I had me and Alex listen to the This Is Dan and Shay playlist on Spotify, about 2.5 hours of Dan and Shay.
My God.
And it was rough. When I listened to that, I actually played a different song. Every other song was not Dan and Shay. I had some Korn in there, had some other some metal in there just to mix it up.
Keep yourself entertained.
Yeah. No, wake me up a little bit. I was starting to snooze. But I had not really listened to Dan and Shay other than a few of their songs. So this episode was kind of not just ranting. I wanted to actually see, was I right? Or did they have some actual country in them that we weren't hearing?
Yeah.
And
what'd you find out?
My theory remained true.
Okay.
And so I've got a few notes of things I found that are a little bit country, and then I got my general takeaways. So I guess I'm gonna at least start with that. I don't know how you have it broken down for yourself, but I'm gonna do that. So
no, you go ahead.
Here are some things, though. This is sort of in Dan and Shay's, and they're pro Dan and Shay. These are the things that I think are somewhat country for them. They sometimes have acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
They have some Christian themes.
Yeah.
Not a strong Christian theme, but sometimes. They sometimes say cutoff, as in a women's cutoff, men cutoff.
Oh, like cut off jeans.
Yeah. Yes. So here's a song. It's called Island Time. Talks about keeping a slow pace of life with his women. That's kind of a country sort of a theme.
Mhm.
Didn't think the song sounded very country in general, but a song called "Show You Off"
Mhm.
has a light amount of banjo. I noticed in the beginning of it. The rest of it, though, full blast of generic production sound. So they ruined it after that.
Now, help me understand it. What exactly do you mean by generic? I don't mean to put you on the spot there, but
Just sound like really loud,
Uh-huh.
just like sort of the modern country pop sound.
Okay.
You know that you listen like anytime you listen to like this sort of mainstream country pop chorus,
Mhm.
it just kind of sounds loud. It doesn't have like I guess what I'm trying to say, it doesn't have a unique instrument that comes out.
So it
Just
sounds
sounds like-
synthesized, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I honestly have that. I would break it down as that being that too. However, I full disclosure, I actually do enjoy some of Dan and Shay's music. However, now this is a big however. When I listen to it, I do not listen to it nor regard it as country music. When I'm listening to it, I'm thinking that, oh, this is pop music. That's kind of how I look at it. And I think you're right. It does have like some sort of stuff that would maybe sort of pass as country music. I mean, they are from Nashville. Their origins have roots in Nashville. I think that's honestly, and they're signed to Warner Music Nashville, which is why I honestly think that they can pass off the excuse that they are country music. Now, I believe they won, it was a Grammy or a country music like Academy Award for 10,000 Hours
Oh God.
with Justin Bieber, might I add.
Don't get me started.
You win an award.
That
You
song.
won a country music Grammy Award.
There is zero country
featuring
about that.
Justin Bieber. It's okay. I like that song. It's a great song.
I'm not
It's not a country music song.
Not the worst song ever, but
No,
not country.
it's not the worst song ever. It's a pop song. Come on, it's catchy. But like,
I've listened to worse songs.
but I'm not gonna pair it with this is not what I'm gonna use to entertain, my relatives in Ohio that are, like country music. This is what I'm gonna use to entertain the girls at college. Like, I mean, really.
Oh God, what kind of women
Like,
are you picking up with this?
It's not
Dan and Shay.
Not people that like country music.
Suburban
I
moms?
promise you of that. Yes. and honestly, that
When I was in college, people listened to hip hop. They did
Hip-hop?
not listen to Dan and Shay. I didn't hear anyone blasting Dan and Shay in college.
okay. Yeah. Okay. No, that's true. That's true. And now, I mean, okay, I just listened to Glad You Exist. That's their newest sort of release. It's got the acoustic guitar in there, got that sort of vibe, sounds a little bit synthesized. I still don't think it's country. You had brought up earlier that you had said, they use acoustic guitars, but I'd argue in country music, there is a specific way that they use the acoustic guitar. It's not just like you could play like any song using an acoustic guitar, you sound like James Blunt, or you sound like Ed Sheeran or Louis Capaldi. That's pop music. That's not country music. Like, you still, and I mean, honestly,
Completely agree.
It's just it doesn't
But
get it for me.
the acoustic guitar, right? No, it's just something that could be a little bit country because it has the more folky, more real country, at least the instrument.
Yeah.
So here's some other. I've got
Okay.
3 other songs.
Okay.
First Time Feeling
Okay.
references George Strait in Small Towns.
Okay.
So
Good stuff there.
I was a little bit surprised. I think this is the only song I would have thought that they would have been shouting out a lot of country artists because they're trying to be country artists themselves. I thought they would have been like Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson, George Jones.
No. All they need
They
is
don't-
Justin Bieber.
They
All they need is Justin Bieber.
they didn't say all they said. They have one song. They say George Strait, and so that's all.
Yeah.
But there's a song called Somewhere Only We Know. They used this quote, out here in the wide open. So talks about kind of wide open spaces.
Mhm.
So there's a tiny element of country kind of theme there.
Mhm.
And the last one I have is called Close Your Eyes. So this one may be maybe the most that I found. I can't quite remember. They all sound similar, but
Mhm.
it's got some frequent guitar picking actually in it. Picking and playing. Close Your Eyes. The song is Very feminine though, and all around terrible. But it's got a lot of guitar picking.
Now, very, very feminine. Like, I mean,
I find Dan and Shay to be very feminine.
Not as in country music, like Patty Loveless feminine, or
No.
like Shania Twain.
Feminine as in like a small hamster.
Oh,
very. That's when
tell us how you really feel. My goodness. Okay.
I don't know if it's Dan or Shay, but one of them looks like a hamster.
Oh,
that should be his nickname.
Okay.
Like how George Jones is possum. That guy should be hamster.
Okay.
Hamster and Shay, or hamster and Dan.
Jeez. Okay.
So that anyway.
All right.
So those things I picked out are like, I'm just scratching and clawing to get anything that someone would say, like Dan and Shay's country. Those are the only reasons I found. So that I'm not saying that they're country at all. Those are the only things I found. That they are at all country. So there's so many songs I listen to where not one thing about it is country music. I mean, including 10,000 Hours. I mean, there's nothing about that song. I Should Probably Go to Bed is one of their new songs.
10,000 Hours won a Grammy.
It was
for country music.
Extremely popular.
Yeah, very popular. Everybody knows it. What's interesting is that everybody knows Tequila. Everybody knows Speechless. Everybody knows 10,000 Hours, like you said. Well, see, it's that. I honestly think that that's what makes it popular. That one guy saying, pardon my voice, but
you know how that song should go. It's to say that he's speechless and then just have a full minute of silence. If he was truly speechless, he would have nothing to say. They should just end the song. Speechless. No, and then just nothing. Just
I'm gonna play a little bit of the devil's advocate here, though. I honestly
wasn't speechless.
I had some other songs that I listened to where I thought it might be country or the older stuff that they had released had sounded more country, or at least because I remember when I was in the car. I was here actually when I heard on WGAR, the Cleveland's country radio station, when I heard From the Ground Up. Now that was one of their older hits. And From the Ground Up, I thought was a nice ballad, had a very, very nice flow to it. I don't know if it fits the country vibe, but it certainly had kind of a grassroots feel to it, more folk, that sort of thing. And then Nothing Like You. Nothing Like You gave me Rascal Flatts vibes, but not pure like Life is a Highway Rascal Flatts, just kind of more pop Rascal Flatts, as if they were trying to imitate that. And
so is this off of, I'm just looking at their albums right now. Is this off their 2014 album?
Yes, I believe
where it all began.
Yes, Where It All Began.
Okay. See, I recognize the cover photo. I don't know if that song was in the playlist, but there was plenty of these songs, and I did not see a whole lot of country in there.
Okay.
No, but I don't know. Fair. I'm not an expert. I have not listened to every single one of their songs, but I've listened to over 2 hours of their music. So
it's more like you survived over 2 hours of their music.
Let me tell you, it was painful to listen to that music.
Yes. Okay. And I mean, it's. I wouldn't necessarily, for me, it's not necessarily painful. It's only
painful.
It's only painful if I listen to it trying to interpret it as country music. See, the thing is that if I'm listening to it in a mindset of saying, okay, it's on a pop playlist. Okay, that's fine. If I'm listening to it on somebody's playlist that says country on it, it feels like it doesn't belong there, in my opinion.
I think for their hits, yes. For their non-hits,
yes,
they were painful to me. I think they have a lot of songs that are not very good.
Okay, and that's fair. I mean, honestly, in my God's honest opinion, I do believe that they deserved a Grammy for 10,000 Hours with Justin Bieber. However, I do not think that they should have won a Grammy specifically for country music, because 10,000 Hours is a good song. It's not a country music song, and it never will be. And you can't just put Justin Bieber with Dan and Shay and say that, oh, Justin Bieber released a country music song. I'm sorry.
Putting Justin Bieber on there is the biggest slap in the face, because you have this song. It's already zero. It's country in zero ways. Absolutely. And then you're thinking, oh, are they gonna add on, someone that's really country? They're gonna add on, I don't know, maybe, well, maybe
Darius Rucker, Brad Paisley, anybody.
Yeah, anyone that's more country than them on there. No, they go the opposite route.
Yeah.
They go the even less country, Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I mean, you can probably scrap up some old things from Justin Bieber with an acoustic guitar. He might be more country than them. I don't know.
Exactly.
I bet you can find some old footage of him with a guitar.
Him playing a guitar. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, like I was listening to the Eagles the other day.
Well, that's more country than Dan Shay.
That's more country. They had some songs where they had some picking in the background. Some almost sounded like some banjo in the background. And I thought, this is more country than Dan and Shay. I hate Dan and Shay.
No, they have it. Okay. I don't hate Dan and Shay. Dan and Shay, if you're listening, I don't hate you. But that being said, I don't think they're country music.
I don't like you, Dan and Shay.
Okay. Nice. No, I think that, there's a place for them in music. It's not in country music. Correct. It's not.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything against them personally, but they.
Well, you just said you hated them.
I hate that they're doing this. I hate that.
Yes.
Don't like that.
No, that's fair.
So here, let me tell you my takeaway. These are my general takeaways, the non-country things. So, and some of these are actually some compliments. Some of them are negatives. But these are like sort of the non-country things. Good harmony that they have.
Oh, beautiful harmony.
This is how I would describe their sound. Cookie cutter, youth group, suburban mom pop.
Wait. Repeat that again. Cookie cutter, youth group, suburban mom pop. Okay, you hit the suburban mom thing right on the head. I have not met somebody who fits that demographic who has not loved Dan and Shay or loved the music. This is all over the Pulse. It's all over the Blend. Those are Sirius XM channels, and those are very, very pop channels. And I happen to, it's all over there. And
so here's some other things. This is very general. Some catchy songs.
Okay.
Quote unquote boyfriend music is how I described it. Very compliments, very compliments about some woman or some girl. Whereas, the old raggedy country stuff is the heartbroken, tear in your beer stuff, or, it's not always negative. There's some positive stuff. Brand New Man, Brooks and Dunn. So I didn't, almost boyish, childish boyish is the way I would describe their stuff. I don't, lots of nice thoughts and compliments are said in these songs. Some Christian soft rock / pop sounds.
Okay.
They praise women.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of their songs I find to be predictable, repetitive, and boring.
Predictable, repetitive. I mean, okay. I don't necessarily think that. I think that their music can be a vibe, but you have to have the right vibe, and it usually is a sad one.
What is the vibe?
Like it usually is a sad one. You don't listen to Dan and Shay if you're really happy, unless it's 10,000 hours.
How sad do you have to be to listen to Dan and Shay?
I don't know. Heartbroken, but a pop like, oh, she left me. I should probably go to bed. Yeah, that sort of vibe right there. And then although they did do a very beautiful cover of A Million Reasons. That's the Lady Gaga song that they did a cover of. And I thought, because their voices fit that song perfectly, whether that's a good or a bad thing.
Even more recent where they're
pop.
Charlie just chiming in from the audience.
First one. Hey, come up here, Charlie. Come up here. Come here. Little guest spot.
Okay.
Let's get someone from the audience. So I'm not really sure how to work this mic, but
we'll see how it works.
I don't know what the settings are really. So just try to come a little close, but not super loud. We'll get some other people up here. What are your thoughts, first of all, on Dan and Shay, as far as if they are country pop or pop, and what do you think about them in general?
Okay, well, one thought I was having from when you guys were I forget what you were talking about, but one comment I wanted to make was that, to tell you the truth, I think Florida Georgia line is more country than these people are.
Completely.
And they're
Okay.
even country.
Okay, that's fair.
Charlie, completely agree.
Uh-huh.
Completely agree with that. Yeah, Florida Georgia line, I think is, they sort of look like half country. They talk kind of country, but then the sound is not very country. But then with Dan and Shay, this is to me the first group where they just say, we're not gonna have country lyrics. We're not gonna look country. We're gonna look pop. We're gonna talk pop.
Sound
And we're gonna sound pop, and we're gonna call ourselves country. It's the only
but we're from
group,
Nashville.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
We're from Nashville.
which should not matter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
like,
Doesn't matter where you're from, man.
it's basically a big old slap to
What
the
are they-
face for us country people.
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. And thank you, Charlie, for your input, man. That really, our first audience guest participation.
Charlie, thank
podcast,
you. Let's bring up our next Nick. Nick, get up here, Nick.
Yeah. Come here, Nick. Woo! Yeah.
What is your last name?
My last name is First, which confuses some
What?
people.
He's not second.
They think I'm asking like,
Nick
oh,
First.
you mean first name? No, I mean that first is my last.
Yes. Well, Nick, great to have you on the show, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Pleasure
being
to
in
be
the audience.
here.
And,
Have you listened at all to Dan and Shay?
I have never, although I think I was
wow.
conferring with some of the other audience members beneath our breath, and we all have to now listen to Dan and Shay.
Okay.
You have never heard Dan and Shay. I feel like you can't escape them. You go into it's always like Target. They always have
Yeah.
Dan
Target
and Shay
music.
playing.
It's the Walmart you're shopping at Walmart. Do you love the rain?
This is exactly what Walmart and Target music is about. It's about those, like I said, who shops at Walmart and Target the most? It's his moms,
Oh,
suburban
boy.
moms. All goes back to the suburban moms. They got clean music, clean look.
It's like hip music.
I feel like no one really loves Dan and Shay, but they're just kind of there.
They like them. I mean, yeah.
A lot of people like them. A lot of people like them.
It's elevator music, or something that
It
when you're
is.
when you're on hold with somebody. Do you love the rain? Make you dance. It's light enough that you could play it softly in the background. I think, but okay.
So
and again, I wouldn't
10,000
agree.
hours? You've not heard 10,000 hours?
If you played it, I'm sure I'd recognize it, but I don't seek these things out.
Here, give a little. No. I want to hear you little jingle.
It's like do you love the rain? Does it make you dance?
Oh, I was just talking about the chorus. I don't even know anything else.
Oh,
from
it's
it.
like no, it's too high. I'd spend 10,000 hours, 10,000 more. If that's what it takes to earn that sweetheart of yours. It's something like that.
No,
No,
I
you
don't
never
know
heard of
that.
it?
No.
Man, that's
The only country I listen to is outlaw country.
well, Waylon Jennings.
The real country, yes.
Yeah.
Not this stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, Nick.
Yes,
I
thank you
feel
very
like
much.
you've contributed as much as you could for not ever hearing
Yes.
that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You might be the only person that I'll
100%.
meet for quite a while that's never heard.
That's
of.
never heard Dan and Shay. Let's get Kenny Craig
Let's
up
get
here.
Craig
Let's
up
get
here.
KK.
Woo!
Hey, Craig. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Woo. All right,
Hey guys.
ladies and gentlemen, KK Farnsworth.
All right. I too have not heard Dan and Shay, but I will say this.
Oh my, that's half the people out.
I'm gonna have to listen to them now. I'm curious, but I will say this. Unless they're trying to sound country, if they're trying to sound country, then they're not. That's their fault. But maybe songs write themselves sometimes. You follow them where they lead you, and your style is not dictated by a purpose. Sometimes it's just how they come out.
Yeah.
Like certain artists, I don't want to name any, but like they'll say, well, what Rush in rock and roll?
Yeah.
Well, what genre is Rush? Rush is Rush. I don't know. They have no genre.
I don't know. Yeah, genre
They created
bending.
their own. I don't know. So,
Genre
for
bending.
example, that's just maybe most listeners would know that.
Yeah.
But, I always, some songs they lead you to where they.
Yeah.
You
I would-
follow them, so their style may not be. Maybe they don't care. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not trying to be country,
Yeah.
but they're being played on country radio. Probably that's where the confusion comes. 'Cause
100%.
they're playing their music, but yet they are country. So I don't know.
Well, Well, they're being played, to tell you the truth, they're being played on literally every radio.
Are they?
Like as far
That's-
away as
that's what they want.
Germany, Europe, it's
Well,
global. And I
So they
honestly
land
think-
someplace,
yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of settle.
They're
in a
kind of
certain
just trying.
genre.
I feel like they're in a struggle to try to find their sound.
Yeah,
because-
that could be.
I mean, this is like what, their second or third. It's their third album, and then I mean, and it's still their second album had more of a country sound to it, and so did their debut. But I think that this album was more genre bending, and then they just tried to label it country, and I don't know. It's just been
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
about all I can say without having heard them and say, oh, that's not country.
It's
But maybe they
definitely
aren't trying to be country. I don't know.
with what Alex said. That's exactly what these record companies are trying to get them to do, is have them sound enough country, or I guess it doesn't even matter. They're
Yeah.
trying to have the label as country, so they're on country radio, but then they sound pop, so they
To-
put them on
to-
top radio too. So they
yes.
got the double.
Well, they're trying to grow the genre, and like I can't fault them for wanting to appeal to other people
Sure.
who don't like country music. But I think that there is a certain extent to which you can deviate from like country music, because like this, in my opinion, is not country music, but at the same time, it's being played to try to attract other people to gain like their support for the genre, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I just
Trying to
kind
sell
of
albums,
yeah,
trying to sell tickets. to
Yes,
concerts.
yes.
It's just- That's the whole.
because
game.
yeah, that's the entire game. You're
Yeah.
exactly right. It's to sell albums. Does it sell? Does it not? And I
Who
feel
buys
like
them? I don't care.
yeah, Nashville now has been very, very exploratory with how they promote different artists and who they promote. I mean, just because Dan Shay is from Nashville, they made it big. And it just crazy.
They are ruining country music. Is what they're doing.
And that's
They can, Dan and Shay, they can make their own music however they want, but they've sold out to these record companies. And, it's not just them. There's a lot of other artists, Sam Hunt, so many others that are just like this pop sound. I tell you what, Texas country, that's where the real country artists, Cody Johnson.
Well,
those
I love
types.
country music. Don't get me wrong. I love country music, and country music is more about, how would you say, traditional country music. Rock and roll has more broad parameters.
Uh-huh.
About anything goes.
Yeah.
With country music, true country music, yeah. And there are pop artists in
Mhm.
country music that aren't
I feel,
hardcore country.
I feel like you
I would
touched
agree
on
with you on
something
that.
interesting there, because you said how rock is generally a very broad spectrum of stuff. I
Yeah,
think
you
that
kind of get away with anything.
I think that that's what they're trying to do to country music.
And that's, I don't like it too. I think that's what you're getting at.
I think that I think that
I don't
it's
agree with that
okay. Like it's okay to do that, but you also have to have like a certain number of artists who also like to keep the traditional sounds, because
George Strait.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
How
Like
can you get any better than that?
one example that I would think of is Luke Combs, John Party, those guys. They keep the traditional country sound and make it modern. In my opinion. And Charlie's making a face at me there, so I don't know. He probably has an opinion on it. We'll ask him about that later. We'll get you back on the show. I promise.
Love.
Maybe Dan and Shay's in the wrong genre. They're not.
They
shouldn't be there.
They should not. Yeah,
It should be pop radio.
there's definitely. I mean, like even at one particular time, you have country artists that don't sound exactly the same.
Mhm.
I mean, you had Garth Brooks, you had Brooks and Dunn in the
Yeah.
90s. Those
Oh yeah.
guys don't sound exactly the same. But I feel like there's a lot of people that want that real kind of country back. That not just the traditional, but also the neo-traditional, the Brooks
Yeah.
and Dunn types.
Yeah.
And people have said it's making a little bit of a comeback. Riley Green, like you said, Luke Combs. I don't love him as much as
Cody Jinks?
John Party.
Yeah.
Cody,
John Party.
it's a great one. Cody
Yeah.
Jinks.
It's pretty.
John Party's his 2019 album, Heartache Medication.
rebellish.
I love that album.
Yeah.
It was real country. Thanks for being on, Craig.
Yeah. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
thanks for having me,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you.
Again,
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
listen to some Dan and Shay, and then
I will do that.
Yes.
for our next
Yeah.
episode.
I always feel like it is utterly important to be informed about stuff. If you're gonna make these comments about the music, you gotta
Oh,
listen to the music. ahead of
Hey, and
time.
keep up the good work, you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Keep
thank
people
you.
informed.
Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Yeah,
Sweet.
thank you.
I
And
learned about Dan and Shay.
yeah,
I'm gonna have a couple more comments before we have our last audience member up
Yes.
here. So these might even be some similar things I would say, but heavily reliant on the snap tracks. And
yeah.
here's the problem. If you have a song every now and then that's got a little snap track, whatever, that can still be country pop. I don't really consider, once you have snap tracks, a whole lot at all, the song is really not country, but it can be country pop. But heavily reliant on the snap tracks is just, I mean, that's almost just pop.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
pop music. It's like it's electronic.
Let me think. That's literally every song made by Brett Eldridge, and then possibly quite a few songs made by
What
Dustin.
do you have
Lynch.
against Brett
Oh,
Eldridge?
no, I like Brett
It's the
Eldridge.
second time you've called out Brett Eldridge on this podcast.
No. I don't have it. I actually really like Brett Eldridge's music. I just don't like the fact that I'm not sure if it's Nashville that's doing this or if his idea. I feel like a lot of his tracks would be perfectly fine without the snap track.
I really
The
have
same
not.
thing with Dustin Lynch.
Oh, Dustin Lynch is 100% right. I haven't listened to a ton of Brett Eldridge except for he got really popular with this Christmas stuff.
The Christmas music's different.
Oh,
God,
he's
you
good at
can't-
that. He's the
can't
king.
can't compare the Christmas music to the regular music.
He does that well.
All bets are off with Christmas music, dude. Yeah.
Anyways,
So let's get
so these are actually a couple songs I pulled out. Round the Clock. I put very poppy.
okay.
And then I have all these 0% country or even country pop. If you listen to that song Round the Clock, I don't remember exactly what it sounded like, but at the time I wrote that down specifically as something that I found to be extremely pop oriented. And then, the last comment I'll make, a song called Party Girl. This is the only thing I wrote about it. Probably one of the worst songs I have ever heard.
Okay. Well, I certainly have to listen to it.
Listen to Party Girl.
I do not have, unfortunately, enough information about it to make an adequate judgment. However, I can take your word for it, but I got to listen to it. That is thing I'm gonna do after this show, because that is definitely. I'll take your word for it.
All right, let's get our last audience member up here.
Come on,
Emma.
I'll tell you, the audience has been absolutely amazing.
The audience was a little quiet at first, on their phones. They weren't sure, but they've come up strong. We'll see how many streams this gets. So, we'll see. So Emma, I've kind of gotten her a little bit into country. Went from not listening to any country to listening to, not quite as into the traditional stuff as me. Probably as traditional as she gets is like Alan Jackson likes a lot, which is great.
AJ.
But listen to some Morgan Wallen and stuff. But I'm glad that she, as far as I know, does not listen to Dan Shay. Is that right? Or does not. I mean, you can listen to them like we did too, but
yeah, of course. We always
gotta listen to them.
Yeah, I've definitely heard Dan and Shay, mostly on the radio or in stores and everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll keep them on sometimes, or I'll jam out to them for a little. Cause sometimes I kind of like what Alex said, they have like, sometimes it's like the mood. That's like the vibe you kind of want. Yeah. Just like the slower, sad.
I don't get the whole vibe.
I'm telling you, it is
I don't
the
get
vibe.
the whole vibe thing.
Okay,
I will say some of their songs, like I said earlier, are catchy. I don't think I mean, Tequila is my favorite song of theirs. I think is actually legitimately a good song. I like the song Tequila. I don't think it's a country song.
Yeah. I like the song 10,000 Hours. I love it. It's great.
That's catchy.
It's catchy. It's an earworm. That's literally what these songs are. Is that they're that's what it's called. It gets stuck in your ear. It's called an earworm.
That's gross.
I learned the technical term for that like last year. It's crazy. But no, that gets stuck in your ear. And that is I do. I mean, and I agree with Emma. You have to be in a certain place, have a certain vibe to want to listen to Dan and Shay.
I don't think they're country though. I think, and maybe I would have thought otherwise if my music tastes like before Marshall were like, I feel like there's a chance I could have really liked them, but Marshall has introduced me to the real.
So
country.
he's okay.
I think a lot of people, this is what they do. So they listen and they're called country. And so a lot of people that aren't like, haven't listened to Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson like us, they just
I'm just kidding.
They just go.
I'm totally messing with you.
They just assume, people that don't listen to country much, they just assume this is country music, because they look around and, to other people in their defense, Dan and Shay don't sound a whole lot different than some of these other mainstream artists, because they also sound very pop oriented, but comparing them to like real country music that a lot of people like, how John Party is sounding now, and all these other guys, mostly pre-2000, they don't sound anything like that. So I think a lot of people just don't really listen to the old stuff, so they don't know.
I think what country music is having is an exposure problem, because the music from as far back as before 2010 doesn't get played on country radio anymore. And unfortunately, with the turnaround that has happened with the radio, doesn't expose people to what country music really is. And like with at least with pop music, you get a blend of literally everything. With country radio, there's been less of a like there's been so much more of a turnover, and they don't ever bring back anything out of the old, Rolodex or whatever you call them.
Yeah, the country radio is not good. The rock stations, and maybe it's just partly where we are in Cleveland. They got some great rock stations. It's like they play classic rock. Really any 90s, 80s, 70s.
I mean, the Hall of Fame is in Cleveland. I would sure hope that they have good rock stations around here.
Well, I mean, hey, Nashville is coming out with this stuff. So
yeah. The Arctic Monkeys.
So I bet if you were like in Texas, you'd be having some pretty good country radio stations. But that's the thing. It's like country music, they have just like one country station that's just like this crap, and then they don't have one that's like the good stuff.
Every other hour they play like something that's moderately old. Or no, they play Kenny Chesney from 2015 and call that old country. I love Kenny Chesney.
Listen, I was gonna have someone on here before. They
no shoes, no shirt nation.
It was a person that is somewhat into country music.
Okay.
A little bit. Not a whole lot. And I was trying to find an artist they liked that was really country. And they were naming all these new guys that weren't really country. I was like, do you like anyone a little bit older? Like we do like older stuff too. And they're like, how old? Like George Strait? And I'm like,
oh my God.
Jesus. I'm like, he's old. I'm like, he's still coming out with. I'm like, he's still alive.
What's old is Jimmy Dickens, Little Jimmy.
I'm like, we do George Strait. Of course we do George Strait. It wouldn't be a country music podcast. So do George Strait. I mean, geez, King George.
Yeah, King George and Garth Brooks. Amarillo.
Thank you, Emma.
Yes, thank
you. Audience.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure,
dude.
Thank you, Olmsted Township.
Yes, for this wonderful night, wonderful audience.
Thank you, Marshall and Alex.
Yeah.
Next time, I want to get into the double digits. I want 10 people out there.